What's up guys, welcome back to another Mastel Duel video. It's Vox, and today I'm going to be showing to you guys the insane Salamangreats that just received their structure deck a few days ago with the release of the new pack as well for the Marinesas and the Ocean World, etc. Basically, with the release of Decode Talker Heatsoul, this deck gets a little bit better. And the reason that is because you're capable of drawing more cards, drawing more of your hand traps so you can disrupt your opponent, and then when you get back into your turn, basically OTK them with Access Code Talker. Before we go straight into the deck profile, make sure to like and subscribe, the standard, and let me know in the comments down below what you think about this deck. First, with the hand traps as usual, we're playing 1 DD Crow, triple effect Veiler with triple Maxi, triple Ash Blossom because branded obviously, then we play 1 Nibiru with the 2 Called by the Grave, the 1 Crossout Designator and the 3 Infinite Permanents. Basically, this deck works the same as Live Twins, but what I mean by that is this deck can basically work with 1 card, ideally with 2, so you can go full combo. But what I mean by that is you want hand traps because you will keep drawing cards, and because you want to trap your opponent with your hand traps or your Infinite Permanences, which you can set or Called by the Graves, etc. You interrupt them, and then when your turn goes back to you on the 3rd turn, for example, if you went first, you can completely OTK them because they were not able to play because you had so many hand traps in your deck. Then for the monsters, we're playing Triple Flame Buffalo. What it does, if this face-up card leaves the field, you can discard 1 Cyberse monster. If you do, draw 2 cards. Basically, one of your best normal summons, usually normal summon this, go into your Salamangreat Belnix, and if you also had Gazelle in hand, you can pretty much go full combo, because then you will be able to draw 2, which is insane. Then we're playing 2 Salamangreat Foxes. When this card is normal summoned, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add 1 excavated Salamangreat card to your hand, also shuffle the rest. If this card is in your graveyard and a face-up spell trap is in the field, you can discard 1 Salamangreat card, special summon this card, then you can destroy a face-up spell trap on the field. Basically, this is an extra way for you to extend your plays, in which you can basically discard a card if you didn't already use your Gazelle. Discard a card, in which then you can special summon Gazelle, also special summon Foxy, and then you do not have to destroy a card on the field, in which, because you play first, you'll have equipped, you have already used, your field spell. So basically, you get a free extender and a free body on board, in which you can go more into your plays, like in your Mirror Stallion, etc. But we'll go there in a bit. Then we're playing 2 Salamangreat Gazelles. If a Salamangreat monster is sent to your graveyard, except Gazelle of course, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal special summoned, you can send 1 Salamangreat card from your deck to your graveyard except itself. Basically, this is how Salamangreat works. The deck itself, the archetype works, you send cards to the graveyard, and then they have effects in which they can be special summoned if you meet their conditions. Then we have 3 copies of Salamangreat Spinny. If you control a Salamangreat card, you can discard this card, target on face-up monster on the field, it gains 500 attack. This is mostly relevant, you want to get this card into the graveyard, because its second effect, if you control a Salamangreat monster other than Spinny, and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Basically, an extra body on the field, it's a level 3 as well, in which it helps you to go more into your combo, more into your plays. Then we're playing 1 copy of Salamangreat Falco, it's level 4. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Salamangreat spell trap in your graveyard, set that target to your field. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Salamangreat monster you control except itself, return that monster to the hand, and if you do, you special summon this card. As an extender as well, again, in which, because it's a 4, it will help you go into your Baguska if you're going first, and in case you happen to draw your Salamangreat draw as well, then you could have multiple interruptions to stop them from playing when they're going second, and then when you're going third, as I've said, in the 3rd turn, OTK them and basically destroy them. Then 2 copies of Salamangreat Jaguar. If this card attacks defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Irrelevant, we do not care. If you control the Salamangreat Link monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Salamangreat monster in your graveyard except itself, shuffle that target into the deck, and if you do, you special summon this card to your zone. A Salamangreat Link monster points 2. Again, a free extender, it's a level 4, it helps you go more into your plays, basically. In this deck list, as you will be able to see, I chose to also play 1 Salamangreat Foul. What it does, if a Salamangreat monster except Salamangreat Foul is normal special summon to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Basically, this is a free extender, a free level 4 that it can help you go more into your plays in case you break, etc. And the second effect, you can send 1 Salamangreat card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, then target 1 set then target one set spell trap card your opponent controls. That set card cannot be activated this turn. It can also be helpful because with the release of the new pack, as you guys saw, there's also that new deck, that Water Stanlock deck, in which this could potentially help you. But most of the times, let's be real, you want this as a free extension to go more into your plays. And then that was it for the monsters basically. Before we go into the spells, I also wanted to mention some other cards that you could potentially run into your Salamangreat deck. One option that you could potentially add is one copy of Salamangreat Mole. What it does, during your main phase, if you link summon this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand to your zone and link monster points to, basically to help you go into your link 2. If you control no monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 5 Salamangreat cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 2 cards. This is not only free extended, but it can help you into your grad game to draw 2 cards to help you get back into the game in case you need that. Then obviously a hand trap option that I decided to add here is Artifact Lancia, because basically it stops you and your opponent to actually, you cannot basically banish cards that turn when you basically use that. So if, for example, you go into your play and they chain Cold by the Grave, for example, you can chain Lancia to negate that Cold by the Grave, so you are actually capable of playing. And then for the spells and traps now, let's go straight into that. We have triple Signet Mining, set one card from your hand to the graveyard, add one level 4 lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. Great Searcher discards as well, sends from hand to graveyard, which helps with the Gazelle combo or with Spinny as well, which is quite incredible. We're playing the field spell Salamangreat Sanctuary as one copy. If you link summon a Salamangreat Link monster, you can use one Salamangreat Link monster you control with its same name as the entire material. So basically you could go Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, and then if you have the field spell, use him again with the field spell to go into your second copy. And then during the damage calculation, if your monster battles, you can pay 1000 life points, then target one link monster you control, make its attack 0, and if you do, you gain life points equal to its original attack. Basically, it helps you survive when you're going first. So because if you played against this deck, you know that their first turn is not as strong into their end board, but they have a lot of interruptions, either back row or the hand traps into their hand. So that's why this deck is actually this strong, because if it ends on Heatsoul, it will be able to draw one card when they get him out, and then another card into your draw phase, because they will play with a toggle on, so you can play around Joel and Lockbird, Effect Velish, etc. to draw another card, so that means a potential hand trap to interrupt you. So that's why basically the field spell is so incredible. It helps you with your combos and it also protects you from dying. Then we're also playing one copy of Will of the Salamangreat. It's a continuous spell. What it does, during your main phase, you can special summon one Salamangreat monster from your hand or graveyard. You can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard, then target one Salamangreat Link monster you control that was link summoned using a monster with its same name as material, basically the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Special summon Salamangreat monsters from your hand or graveyard in defense position up to the number of that monster's link rating. So basically 2 monsters that you could special summon with the second effect, which is quite incredible. It can help you facilitate your OTKs, basically, and also the fact that it is so reliable that you can use this to go further into your plays in case you bricked, etc. is just quite phenomenal, let's be real. Then the 2 Cold by the Graves, obviously, 3 copies of the Salamangreat Circle. Activate one of these effects, also quick play spell, which is incredible. You can either add one Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand, or you can target one Salamangreat Link monster you control that was link summoned using a monster with its same name as material. That link monster is unaffected by monster effects this turn, except its own. Most of the times, if not 99% of the times, you will be using the first effect to search, but it is also something that you can recur consistently. So this deck quite rarely, breaks. And even if that's the case, you can still use like Salamangreat Circles to basically add the missing piece into your hand to go into your full combo. And then lastly, one Salamangreat Roar, which is a counter trap. What it does, when a spell trap or monster effect, basically a non-negate, is activated while you control a Salamangreat Link monster, negate the activation, and if you do, you destroy that card. While this card is in the graveyard, if a Salamangreat Link monster is link summoned to your field using a monster with its same name as material, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. Basically the Omnigate, most of the times you would want to set this in combination with your Sunlight Wolf and then also your Baguska into the field, which is honestly a really solid board, because Baguska, while he's on face up defense position, every monster on the field is negated, so they have to be in defense position and their effects will not be able to be activated. But because link monsters cannot go in defense position, they are unaffected obviously. So this strategy basically helps you facilitate your end board basically surviving with your field spell and with a combination of the Omnigate with your Salamangreat War. And before we go into the extra deck, I also want to show you that some people also choose to play Pot of Desires into their deck, 2 to 3 copies. I have tried it, but I honestly did not like it that much. And lastly, also some people, a lot of people actually, choose to play Salamangreat Rage. What it does, activate one of these effects. You can either send one Salamangreat monster from your hand to face up field to the graveyard, target one card to the field and you destroy it, or you have the second effect, target one Salamangreat link monster you control that was link summoned using a monster with its same name as material, basically your second Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Destroy cards your opponent controls up to that monster's link rating, so that is 2 cards, sorry. I chose to not play this card because after some playtesting, I basically realized that I kept bricking with this. So I was like, might as well just add the Salamangreat Foul into the deck for more extension, for more ways for me to go into my Blaze. And now straight into the extra deck, we're playing 1 Salamangreat Mirrored Stallion. It requires 2 level 3s. You can detach one material from this card, special summon one Salamangreat monster from your deck in defense position. Also, you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except fire monsters. You need to keep this in mind, do not forget this, because if you want to OTK your opponent, do not go into Mirrored Stallion, because if you go, you will not be able to activate effects such as Decode Talker, Splash Mage, or even Decode Talker if you manage to go into that, because it will lock you into only using effects for fire monsters. And its second effect is, if the succeeds summoned card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Salamangreat monster, you can target one monster on the field, return it to the hand. This is decent if you're going second and you cannot kill your opponent with access code, you know that because you have interruptions. You can still bounce one of their monsters back into their hand, but most of the times, because you will be going first, you will not be using this effect ever, most of the times. And if you're going second, you would want to go with your 3 monsters into your Decode Talker. Then before you go into that, you also have your Update Jammer, and then finally with your Decode Talker being able to attack 2 times and also have the 3 pops to basically kill them straight there. Then, as I've said, we're also playing 1 number 41 Baguska, the Terrible Tired Tapir. Requires 2 level 4s. Once per turn, during your standby phase, detach 1 material from this card. If you cannot, destroy it. This attack position card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot target this attack position card with card effects. While this card is face-up defense position though, this is the most important part, change all face-up monsters on the field to defense position. Also negate the activated effects of monsters that were in defense position when that effect was activated. Basically, the idea of this is you have Baguska in defense position, and then because most of your deck and your entire strategy is basically link monsters, and link monsters cannot go into defense position, that means they are completely and entirely unaffected by Baguska. But for most of the decks that do not play link monsters into their deck, they are synchro, branded with fusions, etc., they are completely and utterly fucked. Most of the times they can still play around they can actually still play around it, but it is a bit difficult. Then we're playing 3 copies of Salamangreat Belnix. It requires a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Salamangreat Sanctuary from your deck to your hand, basically field spell. And if a Salamangreat card you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. That is also a really good effect to have. And you need to remember to actually, you want to have this card into your graveyard. It's basically the branded opening of the deck. So, because I have actually seen people recur this back from the graveyard into their extra deck, and it is quite irrelevant because that's why you play 3 copies, right? You can completely use them, use their effects, etc. We don't really care. When you basically get the field spell, and it's that. But the extra effect that it adds, that extra layer of protection, it is pretty useful, and sometimes your opponents might completely forget that they have it, and sometimes, let's be real, you might even forget it, right? Then we'll have 1 Linkuriboh, which is a level 1. Its effect is most of the times irrelevant, because let's be real, you want this to go into your, using your Linkuriboh and your Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf into your Decode Talker Heatsoul, because it requires 2 cyber monsters with different attributes. Then we're playing 1 Update Jammer because he facilitates your OTK with your access code. What he does, once per battle during damage calculation, if your cyber monster battles, you can activate this effect, negate all other cards effect or other card effects, on the field until the end of the damage step. Damage calculation for this battle used its monsters as an attack defense. Also, if your opponent's monsters is destroyed by this battle and sent to the graveyard, you inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. This effect that I just read you, it is completely irrelevant. We do not give a fuck. The most important effect, for this is if this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, that link monster can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Basically, what the combo would be is you would go into your Decode Talker, but before going into your Transcode, you would go with your 3 monsters. You would use the 2 to go into Update Jammer, and then using the Update Jammer and the third monster, go into the Transcode. Then Transcode would activate his effect to special summon the Update Jammer, and then with the Update Jammer, which is a link 2, and then Decode Talker, that is a link 3, you would go into your Access Code Talker, and basically you will be able to go Chainlink 1, Update Jammer, and then Chainlink 2, Access Code Talker, and since Access Code Talker cannot be responded to when he activates his effect to gain attack, you're basically getting that extra attack guaranteed, and then you also have 3 pops because you will be able to banish 1 wind monster from the graveyard to pop 1, 1 dark to pop 2, and then 1 fire monster, 1 fire link monster to pop 3 monsters, and then attack twice for 5300 attack, which is quite incredible. Let's be real. Then we're playing 3 copies of Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, which is the most important card into the extra deck in my opinion. It requires 2 fire monsters. If a fire monster is normal special summon to the zone this card points to, you can add 1 fire monster from your graveyard to your hand. But for the rest of this turn, you cannot normal summon, set, or special summon monsters with the added monster's name. Keep this in mind. During your main phase, if you control this card that was link summoned using Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf as material, so basically if you went with the first Salamangreat Wolf using 2 monsters, and then going to the second one using the field spell, you will be able to basically add 1 Salamangreat spell or trap from your graveyard back into your hand. So the idea is you would want to use the second effect, in which you would go into your second Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. If you sent your Salamangreat Roar into the graveyard, or you already had the circle, so you will be able to recure it. And then obviously with the first effect, if a monster is normal special summon to the zone he points to, you will be able to recure a Salamangreat monster from the graveyard into your hand. Ideally it would be your Gazelle, so you could have a follow-up for the next turn, like Gazelle or Flame Buffalo if you have an insane hand, etc. Then we have Splash Mage. Basically, he requires Cyber monsters, and you can target 1 Cyberse monster in your graveyard. You special summon in defense position, but you negate its effect, and also you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except Cyber monsters. It's basically the Crystal Haki Firebracks for the deck, in which it will help you extend further to go more into your link plays, in which it would be Update Jammer to Decode Talker, in which what he does, he requires 2 effect monsters. While this card is co-linked, it and its co-linked monster gains 500 attack. Also, your opponent cannot target any of them with card effects. You can target 1 Link 3 or lower Cyberse Link monster in your graveyard except itself, and you special summon it to your zone this card points to. You cannot special summon monsters for the turn this activates effect as Cyberse monsters. We do not care, that's irrelevant. You need to keep this in mind, that the down arrow that it points to, you need to have that free in order for you to be able to activate his effect to basically special summon your Update Jammer from the graveyard most of the times to go into your access code, right? Now we're also playing 1 copy of Salamangreat Heatsoul. Before you say anything, you can completely remove him. He's not as strong. You could go instead with Salamangreat Almirage, or ideally you could go with the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. But I chose to add Heatsoul into the deck because there could be situations, there could be applications in which you need backward removal that doesn't just destroy or sense or whatever, because what he does is, if this card is link summoned, you can target 1 card in your opponent's spell and trap zone and you shuffle it into the deck. You don't just destroy, banish, etc. You shuffle it back into their deck, so they don't have any protections that can basically protect them from that, which is pretty useful. But most of the times, if ever, most of the times, as I've said, will not use him, will not go into him, but he's an option for you to have. Obviously, if you don't want to use him, as I've said, you could go with Almirage, you could go with Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. If you're facing a lot of tower monsters like the Arrival that you cannot out, you could go with the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World and basically have an out for that. And then obviously, the man, the myth, the legend, the newly released Decode Talker Heatsoul requires 2 Cyberse monsters with different attributes. As I've said, you would go with Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf and then with the Linkuribo, and you would be able to go into your Decode Talker Heatsoul. What he does, gains 500 attack for each monster it points to. Quick effect, you can pay 1000 life points and you draw 1 card. And then, if your life points are 2000 or less, you can apply this effect. You can banish this card from the field, and if you do, you special summon and link 3 or lower Cyberse monster from your extra deck. Basically, the second effect will almost never come up, but the first effect in which you draw, it prints you cards basically, is insane, because you could end your board with the Decode Talker Heatsoul, with a field spell on board, and then you could potentially have 1 infinite permanent set with a crossout, or 2 infinite permanent set even, and then with a lot of hand traps into your hand, because not only he will draw you 1 card into your own turn, and then on your opponent's draw phase, with your toggle on, you will be able to chain your Decode Talker Heatsoul to activate to draw another card. Basically, what you would want to do that is you would want to play around effect Veilers, you would want to play around Droll and Lockbird, etc. So you can guarantee that extra draw that could potentially be another hand trap for you to interrupt your opponents. And last but not least, the one that helps us facilitate our OTKs and makes this deck actually quite viable right now. Obviously, Decode Talker. Everybody knows what he does. An incredible monster, basically one of the best, if not the best, link for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically the entirety of the game. It's quite incredible. And why I said this, because Decode Talker actually helps the deck quite a lot, because the extra 2 draws that we will be able to get when we're going first basically means that with more hand traps, you will be able, as I've said multiple times in this video, interrupt your opponents, and then, because they could not be able to play their basic strategy, right? They could not go into anything, because you could interrupt them constantly. When you're going third again with the third turn, you can just completely OTK them with access code, and basically just win from there, because you had so many hand traps into your deck. Either way, that was it for the deck profile, guys. Hope that you enjoyed this video. Hopefully have helped you basically understand how this deck plays. Honestly, my suggestion is, just when you get this deck, start playing into either the solo modes or start playing into the casual mode. Start seeing how this deck functions, how it plays. It's honestly pretty easy when you actually start to understand how it works. You also need to remember that basically the graveyard is your second deck, obviously, as with most decks, but for this specifically, what you send to the graveyard is usually what you recur back into your hands, or you special summon into the field to go more into your plays. Either way, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will be seeing you to the next one.